It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Magical day to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I will be your host for this magical, robust lifestyle show. I would like to thank each one of the listeners that are listening to this podcast on the numerous different platforms. I am so very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And as I said, you are in for a magical show today, as I have with me my amazing returning diva, Ann Klossing. And her and I are going to chat about importance in being in the state of oneness. Oh, wow. What a great way to wrap up the year of 2024. So with that, Ann, would you please introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Yes, my name is Ann Klossing, and I am a channeler. I'm a #1 international bestseller and a co-authored book called Women Who Shine. I have been working, I think I'm going into my 6th year on my own book. And I offer, if people want the experience of telling their story and you want to transform, write a book. Write a book about yourself and your journey, and you will hit levels of transformation that you never thought you could achieve. So I'm also my beautiful computer support staff virtual assistant, Jackie Barker. She's my right-hand woman with my website, but she has coined me, how did she put it? Angel medium, maybe? Angel mentor, I think it was. So very connected to angels and happy to connect you with yours. And I love connecting people to their inner being.
Oh, I love that. Well, then our topic is so perfect about being in the state of oneness because you love connecting, helping people connect to their inner self. And to me, that's a lot about what being in the state of oneness is being connected to that inner self that is inside of you. So that's my little take. So I will let you lead wherever you would like to go today with this topic, Anne.
Yes, I channel a collective, which they call themselves we, which goes back to the idea of oneness, is that we're all connected. Our plants, our animals, down to the rocks, the trees, and everything, and is connected to the Creator, and we are all one. The message that I have been channeling as of late is the importance of the self-realization of that you are in oneness with the Creator. There is no higher place to be. You are your own savior. So when I was going through my healing, and what my healing was a place of despair. So I led if I would look at it, probably 40 years of my life in and out of fear, addicted to fear. And fear is many facets. And fear is there for our own good. It is to keep us safe so that when we cross a road, we don't get hit by a vehicle. It is a guide marker to your sensitivity in case there would be someone who would harm you, that type of danger, but keeping you from putting your hand on the hot stove. And fear is supposed to be very small in life. It's just a small percentage of your beingness. So that it keeps you safe because you're this walking human being. And in days gone by, when we were Neanderthals, it kept us from being eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. And through our course of evolution as human beings, fear has been determined to be a means of control. We can see it in our outside world when we look in our outside world. So the oneness comes into play is when you feel fearful and you feel fear-filled, full of fear, returning to your heart space, that central point of beginning, that direct line to source energy. And I know when I was working with the angels, so in my early 40s is when my dad died in 2010. And what I didn't realize then, and I didn't understand it until I wrote that #1 international best-selling chapter, when I was gaining the content for that chapter, that's when I realized what my soul agreement was. So my soul wanted me to stand up. So standing up for your own truth. So it took several experiences with several individuals throughout my life to understand that I give my power away when I fall into their, I call it the gooiness of whatever emotion they're in. And I did that repeatedly. And it was when my dad died and I was writing this chapter that I finally realized what his gift was to me. So whenever anyone passes, it's a soul to soul gift. So even in your despair, you don't realize that you've been given a gift. So what my dad did to me, he did some form of energetic shift. And I always liken it to the old magician's trick where you've got the tablecloth on the table in the entire setting, and they come up to it and they jerk the tablecloth off and everything sits there. He removed a veil of fear. So everything remained the same, but after he died, it was an unraveling for me, a very uncomfortable time, and understanding that I was the common denominator to all the experiences in my life. And that given the opportunity of when I really sat there and contemplated killing myself, that opportunity arose and I chose, no, I don't want this. And that's when I began listening to the voice within me, the real voice, the true voice, not the egocentric mind that says you can't do this, your butt's too big, your hair's too messy, it's dry, it's this, you got too many dang wrinkles on your face, dimples on your butt, the whole 9 yards. That voice is the one we need to quiet. Because that voice does not go with us when we transition. The ego stays on earth, stays with the body. And it's our soul, that oneness, that center is the importance of our being. And that doesn't mean that we're going to go through life without challenges. We will have challenges. But when you come to center and you sit and you move, and I've had people ask me, how do you move your mind to your heart? I look at it as if I'm in my body. Like I shrink myself down and I go to the basement. I go to my heart. So I go from the top of my mind and I shift all this energy. And you can also think of it as energy shifting. You can think of it like silver or gold or white light, whatever you want to think of. Move that from your mind down into your heart. And they've actually, I can't give you the studies, I've just read the articles, but the heart has brain cells. It has memory. The heart has memory. They've done studies with people who have received heart transplants, and they've taken on characteristics of the person who that heart was. So as they deal with like family members, they come together, the family of the deceased, the family of the living. Sometimes these people say things that they have no idea why they're saying them to give the family comfort.
Yeah.
And that's that heart. Your ancestral DNA is in your heart. It goes forward in time, backwards in time. Time is irrelevant. And that ancestral line is not only your human bloodline, but also your soul's ancestry. Who were you 1,000 years ago? Who did that soul decide to be 1,000 years ago? 10 years ago? Now, out in the future. It's opening a corner of your mind that this this incarnation has not been your very first. And there are those who are on this planet that are very, very young. They're new souls and they're young. And those are the ones that look, they're very courageous. They're very bold. They're very daring. They do stuff that not an old soul would do, because an old soul is going to look at what they're doing and go, been there, done that, didn't like the outcome of that. Where the younger souls are more fearless. And I'd say not that they get by with it, but that's how it would appear to an old soul. And the message from the infinite is with what appears to be chaotic, what appears to be evil, what appears to be in the outside world where you may see, am I going to see this world out? Am I going to see chaos and destruction, and this is it? Or is there more? So the message from Source is the oneness, and not to become part of it. And that message I go live every Friday in my Facebook group, and that's called We Channel Conversations with the Infinite. And the archangels have been taking their turns, and that is the message. I've talked to some people, and I don't like talking politics because I don't consider myself that smart. I watch very little news. I watch enough to keep kind of abreast of what's going on. But I know some people who were, what do you want to be, far right, far left, whatever, but with the new administration coming in, are deathly afraid. That is what Source is telling you not to get caught up in. Don't get caught up in the media, because most of it's lies. The truth of it will expose itself. And whenever a paradigm is breaking down, so we have lived generations, thousands of years in control through fear. That paradigm is changing. And if you have ever been in weight loss struggle, whether you've been in addiction as far as alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, that's a paradigm. That's a belief. And when you tackle that head on, it's going to do everything in its power. I always give a paradigm kind of characteristics, like a personality trait. It's just energy, but it's like when we can look at it as I'm not going to give my control to this thing any longer. And when you think differently, you think a new idea, that paradigm is going to do everything in its power to rear its ugly head to talk you into staying the same. So do you want to stay in status quo? Do you want to stay in fear? Or do you want to look at the earth as vividly, vibrantly healthy, and that the possibility of peace and love is there? So that is what Spirit is suggesting as a consideration, because we all have free will. We still have the power to do you. So do you want to do it in fear, or do you want to live a vibrant life and focus on you and be selfish? And there's two forms of selfish. There's selfish coming from the fear, which is the egoistic base selfishness. And then there's the realizing that you are a light being and that you are that creation of God, whatever you want to call it, source, higher self, infinite universe, whatever you want to call it. I fall back on God just because of my religious upbringing, but I interchangeably use them. A lot of, like now I say, I think it's creator is what I use most of the time. And you are the creator. You are that direct line from source. So you can choose to live it in fear, which goes against all the teachings that God has given you to discover and to live by, and coming into that heart space and realizing that you are the oneness. And when you're challenged to look beyond the person, to not get caught up in their energy, to not get involved in it. And this happened to me just over Christmas. but from a family member, put a nasty, nasty post on Facebook. And we had just spent the night before with her. And how do you not take that personally? And both her father and I decided that we weren't going to cave into that energy. And it's challenging when it is your own child. And my partner and I are not married, so I can't even say a bonus child. But when someone is caught in that energy of the victimhood and just the blame, but when you're looking at the energetics of a person and where they're at, and if you've got a person who's been in despair for years, who has threatened the suicide, and when they come out of that, you don't just catapult the joy. There's 22 emotions. But when you're in blame and anger, you're like 8 frequencies higher than despair. So we look at the joy of that. You want to sling mud? You go right ahead. It's a celebration almost because you don't have the worry behind you, which worry does you no good. The worry of someone taking their own life to where now we're in blame and we're blaming everyone around us. And it's kind of like, well, hallelujah, there's hope. There's hope. So angriness of political parties, angriness of war across the big pond, angriness of that. Do you want to be part of that? Or do you want to be something much larger than that and getting of the vibration of seeing them as a healed nation, seeing parties get along, seeing parties at the table, agreeing to disagree? That's healthy. You want to be part of that, or do you want to be part of the mudslinging, the old energy, the fear energy, or the biggest thing that you can do? And that's the message coming through spirit. The biggest thing you can do is love yourself like none other. And I just got to chill with that.
Mm-hmm. Makes 2 of us, because oh, how true that is when you said love yourself. It's a warming chill is what it is. Because yes, to me, you have to love yourself before you can shine that light out into the world. Because when you're in fear and despair and mad at yourself and can't see the beauty within inside of you, there's no light to shine because you're too focused on the negative things that are happening in the world. And it's almost like that negative energy has consumed you.
And it will, if you
yes,
allow it. And it happens very quickly. And even with the work that I've done on myself over the years, can you allow one post to have you fall back into that paradigm?
yeah.
Oh, really fast. But the great thing about mastery and working, I always say I'm working towards mastery, is now you're aware of it. So it's like once you've crossed that barrier and you get the taste of love, you can go back there for a little bit, but if you spend much time in there, you're just going to go, oh God, I can't do this anymore. And you're going to want to come back to love. So the healing is the farther away you get away from that fear. And how do you get away from it? You don't put your attention there. The fastest way to any healing is get into a great state of appreciation. And that's, you're all about animals. I love my dogs. I used to have horses. I love my horses. Animals are an awesome way to help you heal. They have so much to teach you. And oftentimes when that animal comes into your life, there's a reason for it. Whether it's I always call them a little peckerhead, little Jack Russell Terrier that I acquired from my second husband's. She was, short story. She had gotten engaged, they moved together, and like a month after they had been living together, he kicked her out and said, I don't love you anymore. It was that simple, that brash, that rude. And she had nowhere to go with the dog. So I ended up with this old Jack Russell. And he was just obstinate. You know, you'd let him outside to go potty, he'd come back in, take a big dump on the floor. It's like, what is up with that? So it's back then, I didn't have this intuitive gift, so I couldn't really ask my guides, like, what's up with this?
Oh, it was more frustration than at that point in time. Yes.
And I know why my pit bull is the way he is. He wants to play. He's here to teach me how to play again. He just gets a little bit too rough. He doesn't know his own aggression. So we have to work those kinks out. But getting back to the oneness is when you have those life moments where you don't like your external environment, you know, somebody's pushing your buttons, it's going back to your heart center and asking those empowered questions. What is the lesson for me here? What is the lesson? Or something as simple as, isn't this interesting? I learned that from Suzanne Giesman. And she's retired military. I love listening to her. And she's very in tune with her guides. And Suzanne Giesman is like, with something, you know, doesn't go the way you expected it to go, it's like, isn't this interesting? Isn't this interesting? So I've been practicing that. And then the whole thing with the Facebook post, I love the universe, absolutely love the universe. I listen to YouTube a lot. I like to get on like the binaural beats and just, or like Mozart. If I'm writing, I like to listen to classical music as I write. And in the feed was Mel Robbins. And I was probably like a half a dozen, 6 or 8. And every post was let them. It's like when you're not invited to a friend's brunch, then all the rest of your friends get to go. And you're feeling hurt and wounded, let them. You know, when something else happens, you know, someone says something to you that's offensive, let them. Just let them, let them, let them. And I'm like, yep. And we need to just let her be, let her do her thing, and just realize that I'm not going to be part of that energy.
You're not.
And that's mastery too, because, you know, obviously I'm talking about it, so I'm still kind of hanging on to it. I'm disappointed, and I think it's okay to be disappointed. And that's part of the teacher in me, because it's like, what don't you get about this? When you've worked with someone, taught them some lessons, you walk away thinking that they get it and that they understand it and they're well for a while. And then in comes the old paradigm, and then they're back to the old shenanigans again. And it's like, man, what don't you get about this? But it's not for me to get. That goes back to that free will. It's not my job to think for her, speak for her, act for her, or do for her. But my job is to see the inner being within her and see that, and not the falseness of what she's displaying.
Yeah, not the anger and the
Mhm.
frustration kind of what she's displaying. You have
Yeah.
to move past that.
Mhm.
And when you are in oneness with yourself and love yourself, it makes it so much easier to look past all of that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, a lot of people say, well, what did I do to cause this? Why was this targeted at me? Am I the one to blame? And then you turn it around and make yourself the victim in the situation. And yeah, that's not the way to go, because then
No,
she has made you miserable because you've made yourself miserable because you put
exactly.
yourself into that situation. Yeah.
Mirrors is
Yeah.
a way to look at experiences. It's like, okay, this is happening, so it's a mirror, and what do I need to see in that about myself?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow too.
Yeah.
But it's a good it's just a reflection. Everything, spirit is so clever.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that's a proper term, but brilliant maybe is better about reflecting the things in our experience, that each reflection is an opportunity for you to understand and learn the lesson.
Hmm.
And
Definitely.
I'm a slow learner.
Sometimes it takes many examples.
Yes, it does. And each is an opportunity for greatness.
That's right. You're just one step closer to that. Oh, that is just amazing because yeah, you have brought up so many things that people deal with on an everyday life, just like this post. There's so much of that happens. Social media can be good, but it can really be harmful in some ways to people when they take it and, like I said, make themselves the victim of it and blame themselves that this person feels this way. And
Mhm.
so yeah, when you love yourself and you start to realize that, hey, I'm not going with that negative energy. I'm staying away from that. You
Mhm.
can start to find I always say you can find the joy in the things and look at things in a different way. And when you said that about gratitude, and animals can help you so much with helping to find that joy, because just like when I come home and my little Minka girl, my little dog, is so excited to see me. She's just waggling all over and just all love. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what a beautiful day.
Mhm.
She's here to love you and share her love with you. So animals are just incredible. And even out in nature, I mean, the birds singing and just always thank them. We have a lot of geese flying over, and I always say, thank you for serenading me because I love the music.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you would like me to tap in, I certainly will. I get the urge that they would love to come through.
uh-huh. Well, we are kind of winding down is the only
Okay,
problem. We're coming down to about 7 minutes or so of time left. And maybe what we can do is do that next time.
we can, we can.
They will have more messages to share in 2025.
What came through was you already touched on it. So I can tell you what they have given. I think it was Friday. I'd have to go back and listen to it.
Uh-huh.
Um, to get in nature as much as possible
Mhm.
and to be with the animals. So if you have the pets, spend the time with your pets, but to be in nature more often, to set a kind of like a daily routine
Yes.
to check in with yourself. Um, it just some of the things that when I get up in the morning, it's and I've kind of been pushed lately, so it's just like, yeah, grateful, 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 get up and start getting into my day. But to really be in that moment,
Mhm.
to really be appreciative of the bed that you're sleeping in, to really be appreciative of the little rat terrier that's clinging next to my leg, you know, be in appreciation of the man who loves me unconditionally, the sheets that I'm given, the coffee that I'm about to drink, and kind of just do a little what Esther and Jerry Hicks calls the rampage of appreciation. You just look around the room and everything that you see, just be an appreciation for it. And gratitude and appreciation are kind of one and the same. Think of the gratitudes as the words and the thoughts, and the appreciation as a state of being. You can say gratitudes and affirmations all day long, but if your affirmation is feeling kind of blameful or not at your best, the gratitudes must match the level of appreciation. It's the energy
Mhm.
and being in that energy and going from there. So, speaking from experience, not happy with my life, not happy with where I was at with my job, so many things at an unhappy level. Understanding that the unhappiness was a choice.
Mhm.
I was choosing to be that way. But in order to get out of it, I practiced rampages of appreciation going to work. I began to look at the coworkers who were really annoying me, and some of them quite rude, some of them almost mean. I started finding appreciation in them. And when I started doing that, and I, even if it was the one guy that chewed my butt out, even if it was his pen, that was the only thing I could focus on. He had a really nice fancy pen in his pocket that day.
Mhm.
And I focused on the pen. Boy, he's got a really nice pen. And that's, when I had the angry thought, then I just went to the pen. Boy, that was a really nice pen. And I just blew it off. It's like, you don't have to be that energy.
Mm-mm.
And practicing that, I had a lot of practice at that place. So maybe that was the blessing of that job, was that I got to
Probably.
practice it all dang day. But people started noticing that. When I
Yeah.
was walking across the plant, I was standing up, my head was up, I was smiling. And the shop guys started noticing. They would say, Ann, what do you got? You're up to something. You got that grin on your face. I'm not up to anything. I'm in a good mood. And
Oh,
then the office gals started, you look really good today. I'm like, thank you. And not blow it off and truly be thankful for the compliments and not try to make excuses for them
mhm.
and getting in that energy. And that is really one of the largest things that I believe helped me elevate my vibration. Not to mention the half hour of journaling I would do to God going, what the hell is wrong with me? I mean, those were real questions that I was putting out there because I believed I was broken.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what beautiful advice. So everyone can use that to go into appreciation and true gratitude and to find, no matter how small, find something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
So as we come to a close, which I knew this show would go so quickly, we've already talked about next month's show. So I want to tell our listeners you will definitely be back in 2025 because
Yes,
we've
you
already.
all there. Oh gosh, I just got chills. It's like they're so excited about 2025. So
Awesome.
the angels will definitely be coming through our
Oh,
next channeling. So
I
get
love
your
it.
questions ready and then I'll answer.
Awesome. That sounds
And if the
fantastic.
audience has questions, send them in.
Yep. Send
And
them in to Divas at Care and we'll
it gives
answer.
me good practice because I haven't done that very often. I usually just channel, I give the message and I'm done. So questions, I did that for the first time 2 Fridays ago and it was awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Really good.
Well, before we do close, would you please share with our listeners the best ways to connect with you, Anne?
Yes, email is probably the easiest way. It's ann@annclossing.com. You can go to my website, scroll down to any of the pages at the bottom and get on my email list. That will give you the latest and latest. I do a weekly newsletter with all my upcoming programs. I will be doing I think I'm going to be doing a angel masterclass again. And that's about how to connect with your guardian angel. I take you through an interactive meditation that is free. And of course, I talk about the angel readings and what those involve. And what else? We have a visibility challenge coming up, and that's through another network, Be Extraordinary Network. That's a Facebook group. And also, I will be in Kate Butler's summit about telling your story. So that'll be a global summit. That'll be coming up in the third week of January, I think. So lots of stuff going on in my world. And yeah. And if you're curious about working one-to-one, email me and I'll send you my calendar link and we can have a conversation and go from there. Because angel readings are so much fun. They're so fun.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, 2025 is just going to be magical. I love it. Everything you're doing. That is amazing, Anne. Well, I want to wish you a very magical day and a happy new year since we're at the close of 2024. And we will chat again in 2025. And with that, I want to thank all of our listeners for listening to this magical show with our amazing diva, Ann Clausen. Please share this show with your family and friends. Check out all the other hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. And remember some of the golden nuggets she gave us. Return to your heart space. Listen to that voice from your heart. And your heart has a memory. Just tune into it and always remember to love yourself. And with that, I want to wish each of you a very magical day. Remember, be kind to all, including your animals, and give them that great big extra hug and share all your love with them as they so deserve it. Until we connect again on Robust Lifestyles, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.